Good evening, everyone. So let me ask you: when you think of Greenland, what do you think? What do you imagine? Glaciers and or geopolitical competition? Arctic was something like considered as peripheral, but today it has become the world is confronting a new reality. Today it has become like the center of geopolitics. So we'll try to understand why Greenland is important. We'll try to understand it from the perspective of PLIMS 2026, UPSC interview, BPSC interview, as well as mains aspirant. We'll try to understand why USA is so interested. How is it going to have impact on NATO? How is it going to have impact on Russia and China? What does it mean for Western unity? So all those questions would be dealt in today's session. Those who do not know, I'm Deepak Prakash and I have done my master's in international relations from United States, and I'm currently teaching political science and political science optional at Civil Phodo. I have appeared in multiple UPSC interviews too. So let's start with the context. Basically, US President, even during his first term, he showed some kind of inclination to acquire Greenland. And once he entered into second term, this time his inclination has become quite strong. So now Trump is again talking of taking over of Greenland. Good evening, Subham. So US argues that it needs Greenland for the purpose of national security. It has raised the bogey of national interest, national security in order to acquire Greenland. Simultaneously, what has happened? ये तो चल रहा था. This has happened like 10 years, 10 days back. But simultaneously, a new development has happened. Donald Trump basically 3 days back on this Saturday, आज से 4-3 दिन पहले, Donald Trump made a threat to 8 European countries. बोला कि भाई अगर ग्रीनलैंड हमें सरेंडर नहीं करोगे, इन दैट केस वी आर गोइंग टू इम्पोज टैरिफ ऑन 8 principal European countries. So in response, within European Union, what we are seeing, there is a solidarity. There are certain exceptions, like Poland is one exception, Italy is one exception, but majority of the countries जो हैं, they are supporting European Union solidarity. So we'll try to understand what are the implications of it. So सबसे first thing you should be knowing, what are the things which are important for PLIMS 2026. यूपीएससी का जो प्री 2026 में है, तो उसमें क्या क्या यहां से फैक्ट्स जो हैं, those are important. Why Greenland suddenly has become a center of geopolitics? Third, what does it mean for NATO? What is the interest of Russia and China? What are the implications for the Western unity? And ultimately we'll try to understand what should be the way forward. तो फैक्ट्स फॉर प्लिम्स में सबसे फर्स्ट थिंग यू नीड टू रिमेंबर द लोकेशन ऑफ ग्रीनलैंड. ग्रीनलैंड का लोकेशन कहां पे है? आप इधर देख रहे हो आइसलैंड है, ग्रीनलैंड इज अ पार्ट ऑफ डेनमार्क एंड यूएसए इज ओवर हियर, कनाडा. सो ग्रीनलैंड shares some kind of border with Canada, not directly with United States of America as of now. So you need to know, ये आपको अच्छे से पता होना चाहिए. Coming to next important thing, another important question: why it is called Greenland despite the fact that there is no greenery at all? So you need to know certain facts related to it. Eric the Red, this guy was an exiled Norse explorer. Norse are those people, basically they are having Icelandic origin. ठीक है? तो जब ये actually he got exiled from Iceland, so when he reached to Greenland, in order to attract more and more people, in order to attract more settlers from Ireland, in order to make this land more appealing, he started calling it as Greenland. So it's a misnomer. It is a misnomer. Okay, coming to next. How Greenland became part of Denmark. If you would look at the Denmark is far away from Greenland. So how it became part of it? तो इसकी भी एक history है. Let me tell you one thing. Greenland previously it was a colony of Denmark. But what happened? Greenland currently, as of now, it is an autonomous territory of the Kingdom of Denmark and is the largest of the kingdom's 3 constituent parts by land area. तीन इंपॉर्टेंट, when it comes to land area of Denmark, so there are three constituent part. One is Greenland, second is जो डेनमार्क आप देख रहे हो, थर्ड इज फारो आइलैंड. ओके, सो अभी तुम्हें पता होगा, after the formation of United Nations organization, there was a push for decolonization. So United Nations actually pushed the Denmark for decolonization of Greenland. So in 1953, what happened? 1953 is the important year. This former colonies, पहले ग्रीनलैंड जो था वो former colony था डेनमार्क का. So this was incorporated finally into Denmark, and Greenland was granted 2 seats in Danish parliament. जो डेनिश पार्लियामेंट है वहां पे 2 सीट्स दिया गया डेनमार्क को. In 1979, ग्रीनलैंड अचीव्ड सम काइंड ऑफ डोमिनियन स्टेटस, जो हम लोग डोमिनियन स्टेटस का डिमांड करते थे ड्यूरिंग आवर मूवमेंट, फ्रीडम मूवमेंट. सो दे अचीव्ड होमलैंड, which included the formation of Greenlandic parliament. And the most important development happened in 2009. In 2009, it gained self-rule in 2009 through the passage of a law that included a blueprint for seeking independence. मान लो, if they want to press for independence, if they want to make Greenland as a separate country different from Denmark, so there was a specific law that was passed by 2009 that allows the Greenlandic people to decide on that. मतलब ये है कि if they want, they can even secede from Denmark. So this is the fact about Greenland. Second important fact which you should be knowing is Arctic Council. Arctic Council जब देखोगे, so currently there are 8 countries who are part of Arctic Council. इस साइकिल में चलेंगे क्लॉकवाइज. यूएस, रशिया, फिनलैंड, स्वीडन, नॉर्वे, आइसलैंड, ग्रीनलैंड, बिकॉज डेनमार्क, ग्रीनलैंड इज अ पार्ट ऑफ डेनमार्क, एंड देन कनाडा. 8 कंट्री जो हैं दे आर पार्ट ऑफ आर्कटिक काउंसिल. So let us first understand little bit about Arctic Council. Basically, it is an intergovernmental forum that promote cooperation, coordination, and interaction among how many countries? 8 Arctic states, Arctic indigenous people, and other Arctic inhabitants. ध्यान में प्री के लिए क्या रखेंगे कि it was formally established in 1996 through the Ottawa Declaration. Ottawa Declaration. This is very much important for this year prelims. Prelims के लिए Arctic Council is very much important. So formally it got established in 1996 through the Ottawa Declaration. 8 आर्कटिक स्टेट्स अभी मैंने यहां पे आपको दिखाया था, यूएस, रशिया, और ये तीनों कंट्री जो है फिनलैंड, स्वीडन एंड नॉर्वे, आइसलैंड, डेनमार्क एंड कनाडा. देयर आर 8 कंट्रीज हु आर पार्ट ऑफ इट. Further, keep one thing in your mind. All Arctic Council decisions requires, first thing, consensus of the 8 Arctic states. It means any decision must be passed, any decisions taken in Arctic Council must be unanimous. Unanimity is one of the important attribute. Second, it happens in consultation with the permanent participant. Another important fact which you should be knowing, India जो है, it is an observer of the Arctic Council. We are not the permanent member. There are only 8 Arctic states who are the part of it. Keep that thing in your mind. Next important thing is, आज के न्यूज में आपने पढ़ा होगा ट्रेड बाजूका, right? You might have heard about trade bazooka. So USA on Saturday threatened the European countries, 8 European countries, that अगर Greenland would not be given to United States of America, in that case they would be imposing 10% tariff on European Union. Not European Union, 8 nations. Okay. In response to that, European Union right now they are contemplating to press this trade bazooka. So let us first understand about what is trade bazooka. This is again important for prelims 2026. फर्स्ट थिंग इज, ट्रेड बाजूका का फॉर्मल नेम है यूरोपियन यूनियन एंटी कोअर्जन इंस्ट्रूमेंट. यूरोपियन यूनियन एंटी कोअर्जन इंस्ट्रूमेंट. इट द पर्पस इज, अभी बेसिकली पर्पस ट्रेड बाजूका का ये है दैट इट शुड नॉट अलाउ एनी कंट्री to blackmail European Union. So the aim is to protect European Union sovereignty by responding to any kind of economic coercion, चाहे वो tariff हो, चाहे वो sanction threat हो, चाहे वो threat हो, like this. They are called as Bazooka. Reason is because they are having too much power, heavy hitting retaliatory power, and that is why they are called as trade Bazooka. ध्यान में इसको रखोगे. Coming to next, अब क्वेश्चन ये आता है कि why Greenland? Why USA is so much interested in Greenland? So first thing you need to keep in your mind, USA has raised the bogey of national interest and national security. That's the one reason. USA को लगता है कि China and Russian presence around the Greenland has increased, and if USA would not intervene, in that case Chinese or Russian would occupy it. This is what USA is saying, but that's not the truth. The real truth is something else. According to US Geological Survey, currently Greenland is possessing Greenland is having 8th largest store of rare earth mineral. So one reason is this one principal reason. In addition to that, when you will look at the Greenland is also known for reserves of oil, reserves of gas, gold, nickel, cobalt. All these are very much critical, specifically in 21st century. So these are the real reason behind increasing interest of US in the Greenland. Coming to next, what does it mean for NATO? If United States of America decide to acquire Greenland using forceful measure, using violence, in that case, what does it mean for NATO? So first thing you need to keep in your mind, this mean implosion of NATO. This mean end of NATO. मैं बता रहा हूं क्यों. NATO, you are already aware, aim क्या था? It got formed back in 1949. Aim ये था to protect all the European countries from the threat posed by USSR during the Cold War era. Later on, it was joined by 32. Means right now NATO is having 32 members. So later on, it was further extended. So within NATO, there is a specific article that talks about collective security guarantee. You might have heard about Article 5. Collective security क्या बोलता है? मान लो कि any attack on any one of its member must be considered by other members as an attack on all. मतलब कि 32 members अगर NATO में हैं, तो किसी एक मेंबर पे कोई थर्ड कंट्री दे हैव डिसाइडेड टू अटैक, सो other 31 countries would consider it as an attack on them, and that is why Ukraine was also interested in joining NATO, because Article 5 would have come into picture. अगर यूक्रेन इसको ज्वाइन करता, so attack on Ukraine would have been considered as an attack on all other NATO countries. Are you getting? That is why Ukraine was interested. So until now, since 1949, it has been triggered only once. बस एक बार इसका यूज किया गया है to support the US in the wake of 9/11. Now, American excursion. अगर America, if American decide to intervene in Greenland, if they decide to forcefully acquire Greenland, so that would mean implosion of NATO. So this is the one important thing that may happen. This is the worst form scenario. This is the worst form scenario. Worst case scenario. This is the worst case scenario. Next is, what does it mean for Russia and China? They are those who are so happy. So, okay. So, yes. So what does it mean for Russia, China? Now, keep one thing in your mind. पहले समझो क्या मैं बोल रहा हूं. Russia and China, they are the more happy lot right now. मैं बता रहा हूं why. First thing is, irony is that Trump's threat plays right into the hands of two of America's adversary. Are you getting? So, two important things keep in your mind. Two of the American adversary, Russia and China, they are going to take advantage of it. Abhi samjho, what was the important goal of NATO? NATO ka real goal kya tha? The real goal was to neutralize Soviet threat. रियल गोल यही था ना कि सोवियत थ्रेट को किसी भी हालत में न्यूट्रलाइज करना है. बट व्हाट वुड हैपन if this happens, like if NATO implodes? So two things would be, two important implication would happen. First is, it would benefit aggressive Russia. Right now Russia is already aggressive in Ukraine. That would happen. Second is, there would be diversion of resources away from war in Ukraine. Abhi kya hai, most of the European countries, they are right now using their resources to protect Ukraine. Now what would happen? Right now European countries would need to protect themselves from the onslaught of United States of America. So you need to have diversion of resources away from the war in Ukraine. Coming to next, recent threat by US. Abhi bataya कि on Saturday USA threatened European countries, 8 European countries, that 10% tariff would be imposed on them if they would not agree with the United States of America demand. Further, this tariff would further be raised to 25%. So now European Union has also given response in form of trade bazooka. So the question is, what is trade bazooka? Abhi maine bataya trade bazooka kya hai. So there are, the moment if trade bazooka comes into picture, so there would be multiple restrictions which European Union as a union can take. First important measure what they can take, first is they can restrict import from the coercing country. Iska matlab ye hai, Americans would not be allowed to export their goods to European Union. That's the one thing. Second, European Union can impose special taxes on its companies. जो भी important American companies हैं, उनके ऊपर they can impose special taxes. Third important thing is, अब जैसे EU का public procurement market है, so public procurement markets जो है, वहां पे American companies are allowed to participate. So under trade bazooka, European Union can block access to European Union public procurement market. Fourth important thing is, it can also limit participation in European Union funded projects. जो भी European Union funded projects हैं, वहां पे American companies can be restricted or can be limited from participation. But the only thing is, it require European Council, Union Council approval. So one more thing, keep in your mind, trade bazooka is like a collective response rather than unilateral action. ये कोई एक single country नहीं है, rather the whole European Union would respond to America threat. एक तो ये है that you need to know. Next is, what are the implications for the Western unity? West unity का इसके ऊपर implications क्या क्या पड़ेगा? First important thing is NATO and transatlantic relations. NATO and transatlantic relations. So automatically, implosion of NATO, what does it mean? It means that NATO would end, and that is, of course, that is not good for the Western unity. Second, further within the West, there would be enhancement or there would be increase in trust deficit. Second important thing is, it is going to give an opening for both Russia and China. Russia और China को दोनों को opening उस particular context, उस particular geopolitical region में मिलेगा, specifically in Arctic. You can see it, they can exploit Western divisions to expand their influence in the Arctic, and this can also heighten nuclear cooperation, nuclear competition further. Next is Western unity at stake. So it highlights broader tension. खुद देखो, on one hand USA is supporting unilateralism, on other hand European Union is not at all comfortable with US unilateralism. So this US unilateralism versus European emphasis on multilateralism, that they are going to further collapse. They are going to further, yes. So what should be the way forward? First important thing is, मुझे तो समझ में नहीं आ रहा है कि why Trump is trying to like acquire Greenland forcefully. I don't know whether you know this fact or not. Back in 1951, USA was already having a standing treaty with Greenland. Greenland के साथ 1951 में USA ने एक standing treaty किया था. उस स्टैंडिंग ट्रीटी में यूएसए ने क्या बोला, मतलब यूएसए बोला क्या, यूएसए वाज अलाउड टू ऑपरेट देयर मिलिट्री बेसेस इन ग्रीनलैंड. ग्रीनलैंड में इनफैक्ट यूएसए वाज हैविंग 17 बेसेस इन ग्रीनलैंड. बट ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम यूएसए को लगा कि वी डू नॉट रिक्वायर 17 bases over there, and it progressively reduced those bases. And even today USA is having one military base in Greenland. So USA can reoperationalize it again. So instead of going for acquisition of Greenland, USA can talk about operationalization of this standing treaty, and again once again USA can start operating 17 bases. अभी देखो, रियल में ट्रंप ने यही बोला ना कि इट इज गोइंग टू अफेक्ट आवर नेशनल सिक्योरिटी, इट इज गोइंग टू इंपैक्ट आवर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट. तो भाई अगर नेशनल इंटरेस्ट के लिए खतरा है, नेशनल सिक्योरिटी के लिए खतरा है, सो दिस इज द बेस्ट मेजर. लेकिन अगर रिसोर्सेज एक्सप्लॉयटेशन इज योर मेजर मोटिव और मेन मोटिव, देन ऑटोमेटिकली दैट्स अ फार्स. ठीक है. कमिंग टू सेकंड, diplomatic engagement. You need to revive dialogue between US, Denmark, Greenland and other NATO country to avoid unilateralism. Third important thing, you need to respect sovereignty. Sovereignty must be respected. ये बहुत ही जरूरी है. US must acknowledge Greenland's autonomy and Denmark's sovereignty. Because what would happen अगर आप इसको respect नहीं करोगे, so the whole UN charter, the whole UN charter plus global order after Second World War, global order after Second World War, that itself will collapse. Next is a strengthen NATO unity. ठीक है, because any fracture within NATO, any implosion of NATO would of course go against the interest of United States of America. And third important thing is you need to have economic and climate cooperation. You need to launch multilateral investment projects. Use Greenland as a symbol of climate cooperation rather a geopolitical tool or geostrategic tool that would further create tension. Okay, I hope everything is clear. Any question related to this? Clear है सब? ठीक है. Okay then. Do it. Bye. Take care.